Welcome back, everybody, to the Comic Shop Talk in the late night collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, not too bad. How are you, Nico?
I'm good. I'm good. Look at this, episode 49, guys. Next week is
Ooh,
our anniversary 50th oversized
ooh.
issue episode. Look at that. Yeah, congrats. That's almost to a full year of Comic Shop Talk. I just noticed while putting up the number here today that we're creeping on 50 episodes, and in grand comic book tradition, we got to do something special, for that special oversized extra issue where we're gonna get a few more bucks off of you guys to tune in for that one. We're gonna hit you with the 9.99 issue there next week. So yeah, no, that's really cool, man. That's we're almost at a full year of Comic Shop Talk here, and
Wow, it's
stay
gone by
tuned.
quick. We haven't really missed a week either, have we?
We have not, no, but that will be happening around Christmas time, guys. I'll let you know right now. Usually between Christmas and New Year's, it's a very, very, very light week usually. So even for the comic book industry. So what we'll do is we'll combine those comics into the week when we come back, the first week of the new year normally. I believe whichever week is the small one. And during that time, though, we're going to release a special episode, guys, where we're going to be going over like our awards of the year type deal, like we had talked about, Chris. We'll do something like that. So
Nice.
that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll have some lists ready for you guys, some best ofs and this kind of stuff for the year that we talked about. So looking forward to that as well. But yeah, we'll be off one of those weeks. We'll have a pre-record that will drop. But yeah, creeping up on 50 episodes, really cool. Yeah, it's been a fun year, and it goes by quick, right? Just goes to show you. All right, but thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you are tuning in, make sure you're subscribed. If this is your first time, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, like button, the notification bell if you want to be notified when these videos drop. And we actually just dropped an episode of Cracking Packs for the Chat this past week here on the Late Night Collectors community. That's one of our other shows. Shout out to that show. We kind of got some of me and some of the other guys together here from Late Night Chat Network, as well as Late Night Collectors community. And we open up a bunch of packs of hockey cards. Chris is probably going to be doing one of those episodes soon, too. So if you guys are into collectible cards, sports cards, anything like that, definitely check out those episodes. We have a whole playlist of them here on the Late Night Collectors community. So we do other things other than Comic Shop Talk as well. But today we're going to hear talk about some comics. So spoiler warning, we are going to tell you guys what happened in a lot of these comics as we're going to get into some of the details. And so just be forewarned. And we're going to be talking about the comics that came out, the new ones for the week of October 26, 2022. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So yeah, we'll just get started here, I think. Right, Chris?
That's it. It's a big week, so let's talk comics.
Do it. All right. First up, we got on the docket Axe Judgment Day #6, the last issue of this mini series. Oh, nice cover. Hold on, let's take a look. Hold your horses. Dazzler, she wasn't even part of this event.
I know. When I picked up the bag, ooh, Dazzler on the cover. Maybe she's got some big role to play.
Listen,
Spoiler, she doesn't.
I just want to point out that normally Chris is all over those covers, being like, what the hell? This wasn't even part of this event. Look at this guy. He loves that Dazzler cover, though.
Well, I got this on pre-order, so I don't know that she's not going to be part of this.
Yeah, no, she was. She's an X-Men, right? She's an
Yeah,
X-Men. It counts. Nice cover, though. Is that an
it
art
is a
journal?
nice cover, so I'm not too mad about that.
Was that an art journal one? That one?
I think it might be.
Okay, nice. Very nice.
Yes, it is. Stanley Lau.
There you go. All right, Chris. So what did you think of this one?
Well, it's over.
So
I don't know what I can say about that. I thought I guess the series is better than I thought it'd be, but I thought the ending was kind of hokey, where they got to try and, make the robot believe or think or whatever, like that sort of business. Wasn't too thrilled about that, but it was some good action. It was a fun overall series. It was better than I thought it'd be. And, some of the tie-ins, they worked out pretty good too. What do you think? What do you think about this?
I agree with you. I don't think it was like when it's all said and done. I do think it was still a good event. I think it was it was better than I had expected going into it. It went places that I didn't expect it to go. And it wasn't just a punch 'em up event of X-Men versus Eternals versus Avengers, which I'm happy about. It actually turned out to be all of them kind of working together to save the planet, right? In terms of like them banding together. So I was afraid of that going into this event, that it was going to be just them them all against each other. I mean, not sure there was things they disagreed on at times, and times where there were certain members of each group not working with one another. But for the most part, yeah, it was really had to come together here towards the end and decide their fate, kind of, in a way. Like, I thought there was a few interesting developments though in this last issue. Still, I'm with you. Like, I mean, I they basically got up in the progenitor, and they basically,
I guess they got into his brain or into his psyche or whatever.
yeah. And
But one of the good scenes I did like was when you see Orcus attacking, I guess, the progenitor. You see all the Sentinels going there. You see Nimrod going in there, and and then you kind of have I guess the is it the progenitor that's talking? Kind of just observing everything that's going on, and so that was kind of different and neat. But at the end of the day, when they say, "Oh, nothing will ever be the same," well, what does he do at the end? Boom! He just restores everything to status quo. So
yeah.
that was a bit of a downer.
So one of the kind of the big, let's say, changes that's going to be, I guess, now moving forward as a result of this event is, was it Ajak of the Eternals is now considered the new Eternals god, essentially. The progenitor is no longer their god. He kind of stepped down and somewhat did away with himself by the end of this, because he found that he wasn't all fallible. He wasn't worthy of being a god, essentially, because he himself, I think, wasn't unsure of himself, essentially, of what he wanted to do in terms of wiping out the humans towards the end of this. And he kind of had doubt in himself, and he's like, how am I supposed to judge others if I have doubt in myself, essentially? So like he said, that was I guess the hokey part kind of for you, was them, they got to him feelings, I guess, a little bit, and he decided, okay, I'm just gonna get it step down, right? So
yeah, but I have a question: is Magneto still alive now? Because he wasn't killed by the progenitor; he was killed by the Eternals.
I would say no, just because of I would say he's not alive. I agree with you.
Yeah, and so everything that happened on Mars or Akari or whatever they call it there, that's still in play. That planet is still destroyed.
As far as
that wasn't sort of okay. Well, I guess we'll read about it further on, but
we'll find out. But I think we probably would have heard about that already, because they're relaunching that X-Men Red book, and it's going to be called Storm in the something or other.
Brotherhood or something like that.
Yeah, so I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be alive. But and then the other thing was Cersei. Again, I don't really care about the Eternal characters, so really do nothing for me. But Cersei ended up getting destroyed, and she's dead now, and she's not coming back because she admitted the fault of the Eternals whenever they resurrect. One of the humans' lives get taken, so which I didn't know about that. So her revealing that in this event was her coming to terms with that and saying that they're not better than anybody else in that sense, or the progenitor or anybody. And then the human race as a human race judged her to the point where he destroyed her. She got destroyed, and because it was the humans that cast this decision upon her instead of the progenitor himself, she also didn't get resurrected by the end of this. That's said. So I do think one of the most interesting developments of this, though, was the X-Men thing, that they said that Jean Grey said that now, because it was revealed that they were able to resurrect people, they're going to now take 5% of their resurrections are going to go towards actually helping and resurrecting the sick and the needy humans, essentially. So they've now let them in on a bit of the resurrection protocol as well. And they said, listen, our people come first. We don't have enough people to do this. It's going to take, forever for us to basically back up all the humans. So we're not going to go down that route, but we're going to take it upon ourselves, and we're going to have a task force, essentially a team, put a team together that's going to help us determine which humans we should be able. So that's a whole, that's
a whole new can of worms there.
Right.
Who are they to decide, who should come back or who shouldn't, or how are they figuring that out?
That again, now they're just playing God again, right now with humans. So I don't know. So I guess we'll see. So I thought that was an interesting little nugget that they threw in there towards the end of this, right? And I'm sure we'll see that play out within the X-Men books. But
well, I guess there's still an Omega coming out too, right?
Yeah, I think I have that pre-ordered. I think you're right. I think because I usually get the Alpha and Omegas of these. So yeah, I think I do have that pre-ordered. But yeah, this, I liked some of the outcomes of the event. That's what I'll say about this.
The more we talk about it, there are a lot of things here that I did like in there. I just didn't like that hokey ending. That's all.
Yeah,
And
no,
then the stuff here where she's, oh, yeah, you never know when your last day is going to be, so try and be the best you can. You never know when it's your judgment day, and blah blah blah.
right, right. No, I'm with you. I felt that way while reading this as well. But I think if you, if you boil it down to like, what the outcomes were of this event, like I think there's some interesting plots moving forward that we can kind of focus on as a result, which is a lot more than you can say about a lot of these events, to be honest with you. But usually
Yeah.
it's like everything's gonna change by the end of this
Yeah.
event. Usually, like nothing changes. There's somebody who dies, and I guess it's the same thing in this event too. A couple people dead, a couple people are now like stronger or whatever, right? But like it's. I do like the X-Men thing. I think that's the main reason why I kind of dug this ending. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let's see that play out. So what'd you give this one then, Chris?
I'll give it a 3.75. Maybe the series as a whole, maybe a 4.
Agree. I agree with you. I'm actually, the series as a whole and this issue, I think is floating between 3.75 and 4. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Which is good. Honestly, like in terms of track record for events that I've read, I thought this was interesting in that like it was different. And while I'm struggling to say it was good or great, I do think it was decent to good. I would say this event. I think it wasn't bad by any means.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I hope they stay away from something like this for a few years at least. I don't want to kind of come back next summer and they throw something back like this again. It's like, oh, come on, really?
They probably will. Usually it's every summer. They have a summer event, right? So I'm just letting you know right now. Just stay tuned. All right. Next up, we got DC versus Vampires number 10. 2 issues to go of this series, unless it spins into a next one. Oh, let's take a look at that one, Chris. The Supergirl. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Nathan Zerdy, I think.
Nice. That's a nice one. I like that too.
Not too bad.
Yeah, so this is 10 of 12. We'll see if that sticks. They stick to the 12 issues of this, or if they announce something else. I think this has been fairly successful, so you never know. But what'd you think of this?
Yeah, this one wasn't too bad, but starting losing a bit of steam there, I think.
Yeah,
and or maybe just burnout from the all-out wars that are kind of. It seems to bring down the whole series, that all-out war. But I guess some big developments in there. I guess all the heroes are finally fighting back, and was it Batgirl that had the big plan, or everybody that's in Gotham? They've been all sort of secretly building, weapons to try and take out these vampires. So we'll see how that all works out. So I guess there's only a couple issues left, and I guess it's time to put up or shut up.
yeah. I mean, as I said, there was a lot of these Elseworld type miniseries that came out from DC at the same time. I think this is, I would say my least favorite of the bunch that had come out, like Dark Knights of Steel, Deceased, and all this other stuff that's been going on right now that we've been reading. But I still think it's decent. It's been uneven for me though. It's definitely been up and down. And like Chris said, I don't think All Out War has helped it by any means. I think that's the weaker of the 2 series, and I don't think it's added too much to this. It was referenced in this issue. They really try to make reference to it, but like even the importance of that miniseries in this series is not much. You're like, hey, remember that we have a team over there? And they're like, oh yeah. And it's like, see, All Out War in the editor's note. I'm like, yeah. Like these guys aren't here, so like clearly it doesn't matter. Right? So I'm a little kind of ticked off about that. I feel like those one shots did more for this story during that delay of this mini series than the All Out War has. So but yeah, it was okay. I've dug the art, and I think the story's fun still. I do like the whole thing at the end, like you said, with all the bat signal type stuff that's going up all over the place. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the conclusion of it. I think when it's all said and done, it'll still be a decent kind of Elseworld story to check out. But I need Dark Knights of Steel back, man. I mean, I think we left that on such a high, and like I feel like it's been forever since we got an issue. So
this one's just sort of kind of losing its fun that it had in the beginning, where you don't know who's who, or when someone either be revealed to be a vampire or not. It was like, wow, okay, here we go. Right. And now just, I guess, let's get it over with.
Yeah.
I give it maybe I give it a 3.75. Some good characters in there.
Yeah, I'll give this one a 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we've got Venom 12, Chris.
Yeah. That's Venom 12 here. Yeah, so that's just a regular cover. I don't really have much to say about this. You got Dylan inside there. He's still trying to find himself. And, he's battling, I guess, what looks like his dad, but it's not really his dad. It's just a memory of his dad. And this is for him to get to either the center of the maze or whatever he's in that Clintar world or something like that. And it's still kind of wacky what's going on in there. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know if they didn't have all these covers, or I don't know why I'm keeping on buying this one. But there's that sleeper cell, or I don't even know what his name is, but he's pretty cool. He's got there he is.
Yeah.
He's got a whole bunch. There's that whatever foundation that's trying to catch him. They think they got all the tricks to get these symbiotes, and he's just revealing himself to be, hey man, I'm a pretty powerful symbiote, and all those canisters he's got stuck on him. Those are basically all these things to thwart whatever plans they have to take down the symbiotes. They think, oh, you got fire and sound. He goes, oh, don't worry, he shoots out like some flame retardant stuff, and then he can kind of cover himself in some like sound barrier so he doesn't hear the noise. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Those pillars, those were what you're talking about. These things.
Yeah, like he's got all those cans sticking out of him.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are all just I don't know where they come from. If that's something he's made or it's something he grows, but that's all this stuff that kind of helps protect them, I guess, from the normal ways that they've been attacking the symbiotes.
No, but what's this big crystal pillar thing though? Not the things that are coming out of his back, but like that big crystal, like.
Oh, that's where that Clintar world that Dylan's trapped, or his subconscious is trapped in. Okay. And basically, for him to get to that, he has to kind of find himself or find the truth about himself, and it's a lot of this. Oh, I'm Venom, and I'm Dylan Brock, or I'm Eddie Brock's son. But then at the end, he comes out like this because they kind of, I guess that Splinter, whatever, that sleeper cell, he rescues Dylan's body and brings it to the Venom by itself, and then they merge, and then he comes out looking like this. So I don't know what this is, but we'll see where that goes.
Like Null. He kind of looks like Null there. That's kind of what his look was. That's
because he was fighting in in his Mindscape world or whatever, with the Venom with the red spider on, which was a lot like Null had. So maybe they're just trying to hype that up a little bit or something, and try and give him more of his own identity.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, still a 3.5. That's baloney stuff. Oh, who am I? It's like, let's go fight already.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely been more about that the last few issues than it has been about like just being like a superhero comic, right? So
it's just more of his time travel with Dylan or Eddie Brock, I guess.
Yeah,
kind of being able to time travel, and he's just fighting basically other versions of himself, and everything can, and I guess all of them can do that because they're all him. Right. So it gets a little bit confusing, and let's just wrap this storyline up or something and see where it goes.
Right. Okay. All right. Next up, new release this week, Punchline, the Gotham game #1.
This one wasn't too bad. I kind of liked this. My first time reading some Punchline where she's, out on her own, kind of taking care of business. And she's out of jail and getting ready to get back in the game. And I guess we'll see how things play out. She's trying to put together some Gotham or Royal Flush gang. And supposedly there's all these little Royal Flush cells all throughout America, I guess, or whatever. But she's back in Gotham and looks like she's trying to run drugs. It seems to be like a pretty simple plan. And this drug is supposedly made of all these common materials, so they can't ban them. And then she's got a plan to run the drugs through Alleytown and make a deal with, I guess, one of Catwoman's friends. It's one of I forget what her name is, but one of the one of the Yakuza. Basically, it's like the Yakuza of the Alleytown.
Okay.
And then she's thinking Batman won't come into Alleytown because basically that's Catwoman's sort of domain, and he doesn't want to step on her fingers or on her toes because they have some sort of relationship. So sounds like she's got things all figured out. But we'll see how that plays out. Oh, no, that was another one. I thought somebody else showed up in this, but I don't think so. We'll see how it goes. But it was a decent comic, decent looking comic. Oh, Batman is here there. That's They had him kind of walking around in a costume there.
Oh, that's like his Matchsticks Malone type costume or something.
Yeah, he was just kind of there incognito, just trying to see what's going on, and guess he's got Oracle in his ear and just kind of tell him to hold off, and he's trying to figure things out.
Okay.
So
I didn't even
that's
know.
Not too bad. I don't mind it. It's pretty good so far.
Nice.
I'd give it a 3.75.
Yeah, the art looks good. I will say this, like, I know like some people were kind of like, when she first kind of was created, this character, like, oh, this is just like them trying to make
another Harley Quinn or whatever. She seems pretty psychotic still, so that's good.
Well, what I like about her,
evil.
But that's what I mean. What I like about her, I was going to say, is the difference between her and Harley is that she's very manipulative. She's very manipulative, and she tricks people like a lot, like to the point where like I think it kind of sets her apart, especially the way that Harley's been written for the last little while. Like it is a little different, honestly, her personality. So like you said, you could. And they do make jokes about it. They actually made a joke about it in DC versus Vampires this week, how she's basically just a stand-in for her and all this kind of shit. And like, yeah, that is going to be the criticism because, of course, she's like the new Joker's girl. She came out on the scene as her, but at least now they're trying to make a thing of her out on her own miniseries, and she's not that Joker hasn't really been mentioned, I guess, at this point, right?
No, not really, not at all.
So okay, cool, that's cool. All right, next up we got Vanish #2. Chris, I know you weren't able to get your copy yet this week. But yeah, definitely I would say stick with this. It was good. I mean, another good, like, honestly, like if you're a big fan of Stegman now, for the Stegman visuals alone, this series is gold. Like this is a great series. I'm telling you, this is the best I think he's ever looked. The issue itself, the story was okay though. I think it's still like it's building slowly, I feel like. But so at the start of this issue, they started out with a flashback of, I guess, the time when he was with this school of the magicians and stuff like that. And I guess their teacher took them to New York, and at the time this felt weird and out of place though, so I'll just let you know what happened this opening scene. Like they took them to New York, and the thing that he was trying to have them bear witness to was 9/11 essentially. And then they kind of allude to it, and they talk about that, but this is like a fairy tale story, and those things are just happen happily ever after. And they kind of, and then he drifts off in his explanation of it, and as a result they're trying to they didn't want to depict 9/11 in the comics, so he kind of just left it at there in terms of the narration, the character. But then when it changes from this scene to the next, he goes on to say, like when the second plane hit or whatever, we saw what happened, and the teacher was trying to make the point about, you could try to stop one war or one thing, but there's something always else is going to happen or something like that. It was some sort of like way to basically say, and it's kind of a theme that goes on throughout this issue, is that basically they shouldn't be interfering in the likes of men and their decisions to go to do things against one another, because you may stop one thing, but then something else is already going to happen around the corner. There's going to be someone else that's going to step up and do something, and you can't basically like the anti-Superman talk, like you can't stop it all, like don't even bother. Why bother? Try with the meddling in human affairs type speech, kind of. That's what I got out of it, anyways. And then we see him up on the top of the rooftop. Awesome cigarette smoking scene, I gotta say. He's just puffing a boog on top of the fucking the rooftop. I was like, yeah, nice one, Stegman. I just love the layout of his page, because they cut from that scene to him just like puffing a cigarette on top of the roof. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you see him like actually flick the cigarette. I don't know, for whatever reason, I really liked that scene, how it was drawn and everything. So again, the art's sick, but yeah, from there it kind of went on for him to he met up with one of his associates, I guess, that's like actually playing as a magician on Earth. Like he's like like one of these magicians, like Chris Angel or something like that. Like he basically, I guess he used to go to school with him in there, and he's a friend of his that he still knows on Earth. And he went to him and told him basically what just went down at the end of the first issue with that bottle rocket guy or whatever the hell his name was. And he said, I kind of, I fucked them up. I think like they'll know now it's me and they might come for me. And I'm kind of worried now. And, all this other shit. And he's just like, yeah, again, he's like, I don't know why you're getting involved in this kind of thing. Just leave it alone. And what you need to do is go see, like, I think he said his wife, like either his girlfriend or his wife. And I guess she lives, this girl right here, he goes to visit her at the library. It looks like in the magical world. I think like, and she goes to visit her and she's like, she finds out that he was meddling in the affairs of humans again and also like trying to help save them. And she's like, don't bother. What you could do is call the cops like any of these other humans. Like, I don't know why you're bothering getting involved in this. And he's like, I can't just stand here and not help people. So there's an interesting thing going on with the storyline with that kind of thing. I really like that. Like, he's kind of like a man of two worlds in a way. And they're all these other people that are in his life feel like they're above, I guess, regular human beings now, and they're feeling they shouldn't interfere, but yet he feels a responsibility of some sort to actually help these guys, right? So like, it's help us essentially. So it's really interesting. I do like that part of the story so far. So I think there's like some heart to it underneath all like the badass 90 type shit that's going on in this comic. So and then and at the end here you see the bad guys kind of all together here and how he fucked him up. Like he basically says the bad guy, like, look what he did to my face. Like, it's him. I'm telling you guys, it's him. So they know of him and they know he's back now. So it looks like this, it's going to spark up a beef between his people that he used to know that are now pretending that they're good guys, but technically they're bad magic users. Right. So, so yeah, you know what? I liked it a lot better just explaining it to you right now. As when I read it, I still feel it seemed underwhelming because I was really hyped for this book. As you know, that's kind of how we felt about the first issue as well. So I'll give it a 3.75. I think it's still building. There's definitely some interesting things going on here in the story. I'm definitely sticking with it, and the art's fantastic. So that's all I can say about it at this point. But like, I could see this like a couple issues from now, once we get to like the end of this first arc, like being like at the top of our list, because like I think it's becoming really, really interesting so far. So yeah, I'm really excited for the next one.
Nice.
Yeah. Then we got the Human Target number 8. This issue dealt with I forgot the fucking guy's name. He's like the Russian guy from the Justice League International, like the Russian Red Rocket guy. I forgot his name. Yeah, anyways, I forget the character's name. I'll have to look it up after, but he's Russian and he used to be part of the Justice League International, and he wears like a red suit, and that's the character that shows up in this issue. And as a result, he ends up making the character here, the Human Target, miss a whole day of his life. You know how every issue, like a day goes by and he's getting sicker and sicker and he's gonna die soon. Like he ends up getting all up in his shit, asking about where Guy Gardner is, because he's his friend and he was supposed to meet up with him, and then he never returned his call. And then when he investigated into it, he couldn't find him. Of course, we the readers know that him and Ice, like, they killed Guy Gardner a couple of issues ago because he tried to fuck with them. And so now he's just basically getting tortured by this guy during this issue. Like, he keeps fucking with him and keeps interrogating him throughout the issue. And every time the Human Target talks back to him, he ends up knocking him out. And then he wakes up again at a different place. And he's like, listen, just let me know where he is. And he's basically, that's just the setup of the issue, like from 3 different scenes and places that he's narrating the story as he's basically torturing the Human Target to kind of get him and playing with him and kind of fucking with him and knocking him out, basically to get him to admit to this, what he thinks he did something to Guy, right? But by the end of the issue, Ice comes to his rescue there, and they did some sort of thing, he said at the end, that they set up some sort of message that said, like, where it's a fake transmission from Guy saying that he's in some other dimension, like he's being, space cop Green Lantern Guy, and he's out in some other world or something, and that's why he's not on Earth, and that's why they can't get a hold of him. But it's fake, like it's a fake transmission, right? So yeah, and by the end of it, he's just pissed because he's like, I wasted a whole fucking day because of this asshole, and I haven't learned anything else, and I still don't know who's tried to kill me, and we still are murderers. So it doesn't look good. Like, he's got about 4 more issues of this series to figure everything out here. So yeah, it's been very good. The art's always great, and the story is really well told. I'll give this one a 4.25 this issue. I think it's always good. I really, really love this series. I think this is the best thing Tom King's been doing lately. So, all right. Next up, Batman Beyond the White Knight number 6, Chris.
Okay.
Yep. Got mine here.
Let's see here. This one wasn't too bad though. I thought it was a great exchange with Batman and Harley, or Bruce and Harley there when he wakes up in bed with her. He starts kind of giving her trouble, but she just throws it right back at him. It kind of really plays into that Harley being a psychiatrist and all that. So she knows her stuff, and I kind of like the way they have her portrayed here. That she's not some kind of giggly dummy here, and it just kind of tells Bruce the way it is. One thing it didn't get me is all these stupid Robins in here. I don't know who's who when they're not in costume.
So the one that's part of the GTO, like the new GCPD, essentially, that's Nightwing, and the one that goes and gets up in his face in this is Red Hood, like the one that goes and gives him shit because
the GTO, and then there's the Gotham Police here, right? Those are two different entities, let's say. No,
No, I think the GTO is the Gotham Police now. They've disbanded. I think the GTO now. I unless I'm mistaken, but I think
maybe you're right, because like Dick Grayson, he gets fired in this as like whatever the head.
Yes.
But then when Commissioner Gordon shows up, they were doing something, right? And then they were saying that that's not your jurisdiction. This is like the.
No, you're right. So the GTO, I think, is specifically set up. I think was for the for like the Batman stuff. Yeah, I think you're right. I think
like those like the Batman costume cops, and the other ones are regular cops.
Yes, yeah, they're like a task force. The GTO. And you're right. They are two separate entities. Yeah, because it's his daughter in this. And you're absolutely right. That is the case. Yeah. So Nightwing was the one that they had Bruce imprisoned, which he kind of turned the other cheek. Like he's the one that let him escape originally a couple of issues ago, right? Like he knew he was escaping, but he allowed him to leave, right? And that's why when he came back confronted him in this issue, he's like, "You're fucking going around apologizing to everybody else. Where's my apology?" Like, right? Like, so yeah. But go on, yeah.
Yeah, but I like the Joker here. He's kind of back to being his fun self in this series, where he's just kind of pointing stuff out as the battles go on. And then all that stuff with Batman and freaking Dick Grayson again, or Bruce and Dick. Come on. They could have left that out. I know they're always trying to explain their relationship and how he didn't like him, or how it looks like he always did him wrong, but he's really trying to do the best for him. Enough of that. That's about it.
I thought this was a super strong issue. I really love this. I thought this is we're 6 issues into this 8-issue miniseries. I think it's built to a place where the story has gotten better and better, and I think this is the best issue yet, honestly. And like even this double page spread, like the art's fantastic.
The art's great on this. Can't go wrong with that.
No, I think the story is really interesting. The relationship between Bruce and Harley, and the whole Joker thing, everything just seems to be working for me right now. And I do like how, he's doing the Bruce Wayne apology tour where he has to go, like, he's going around and apologizing to everybody. And there's a whole thing about how he says, I realized that I had to get out, and not about me like protecting the city. It's about me protecting my family and like making amends with everybody, essentially. Right. So like there is always that aspect. I know you don't love all the Robin Nightwing business, Chris, but I think there is that aspect that this is still the Bat family. He does care for these people. And I like how that is still a central theme, even in this iteration of Batman. I do really enjoy that. So that always works for me. I do like the
Batman. But they have that big heart to heart, and then they have the ending here, this one here with I don't know if you want to talk about the ending there. I think it's the ending where
here it is.
Yeah. You have the big heart to heart, then all of a sudden it gets blasted. I'm so happy that they had a chance to say everything they did before he dies, but he's not going to die.
I like to see that your Nightwing hate even reaches over to the other Elseworld versions of it. You're like, who is this? Nightwing? Fuck this guy. Oh man, this fucking Chris DiDio over here, fucking Dan DiDio in the flesh over here in a different form. Ken DiDio, there was ran things over there at DC for a while. Hated Nightwing. That's why he turned into Rick Grayson there during that period of time.
Yeah.
I think like he always wanted to do away with Nightwing, wanted to kill him, wanted to basically get rid of him. Like he didn't like the character, right? So I think you two would have got along.
But I like these good stories, though. I just like to hate them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, I thought it was a great issue. Yeah, what'd you give it?
I thought it was good. I'll give it a 4, easy.
I give it 4.5.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Next up, we got Harley Quinn 23. Ooh,
I got a variant cover for that too.
Nice one. Yeah, very nice.
Lyrics or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's a nice cover there.
Sure is, yeah. So what did you think of this, Chris?
I really like this issue. It started out, thought it'd just be another kind of whole hum Harley Quinn issue. We got her running around just kind of making goofy faces, doing goofy things. But she's got something going on. And, I like when, was it Damian Wayne that showed up?
Yeah.
And they have their little battle there. And I guess she takes care of business with him. And then, I don't know, at the end there, looks like we might be having a return to a more homicidal Harley Quinn. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, which I think is something that hasn't been done in some time.
Yeah.
She's fed up and she's looking to get back at, I think because of the effects of the Lazarus Pit, obviously.
Yeah, the Lazarus Pit shook something loose there.
For anybody that that dislikes Damian, and I know there's a lot of you out there, you'll probably really enjoy this issue as well because she does put him in his place. Calls him Baby Bat. Like I don't know how we could take this guy seriously whenever these moments happen and he gets taken out. Like Harley Quinn's taking them down, so I don't know how serious we were supposed to be taking Damian at this point. Like I know he has his haters, and that's his kind of his shtick about how he's always trying to be respected, and people are just like, yeah, look, it's Batman's son, right? They don't take him seriously, and I know a lot of people like Damian, so I think this moment played out really funny. I thought where she threw him overboard and then offered him hot chocolate.
Yeah, and the next scene there, he's got his not poison, it's hot chocolate.
I'm with you though. I think this is an interesting story they're telling so far. This is actually pretty good. I think it's hit its really real sweet spot for me this series. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah. So what'd you give this?
I'll give this a 4.5. I think I really liked it.
Wow, I'm gonna give it a 4, but I think it's been really solid. I love this arc coming out of that last horrible one. What was like that month thing with the space adventure?
After that month stuff, like that was just garbage. Harley, this is at least she's got some depth or something to her character here,
Yeah, no, agreed. So
I hope they follow through with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. It's been a good story they're telling so far. All right, next up we got Iron Cat number 5. Unfortunately, I forgot to read this one. The one issue of the series. Is this the last issue?
I think it's the last issue.
Yeah. The last issue of the series, I didn't end up reading for whatever reason, so I'll have to get to that.
You think they could come up with a better cover than that for the last issue? Jeez Louise.
I know. I mean, this
is an Iron Cat.
It's not even representative of her at all. It feels like I get it that she's got her suit there, but it's more Iron Man than Black Cat at this point, anyways. But go ahead, man. What happened?
Yeah, well, it's just the end of the arc here. I think it had a bit of an Ocean's 11 sort of feel to it because as the action's going on, they're trying to explain how they're trying to outsmart this AI or whatever. I don't know if you want to call it a person that Madam Web or Madam Menace or something.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I think it's Menace.
And I guess you can see that the Iron Cat is back, and they take care of business early, in the middle of the comic, let's say, because there's a bit of a fallout at the end, and the fallout is basically that Tamara Blake, she steals that Iron Cat costume and just takes off with it. And then Black Cat's like with Tony Stark, she's like, don't bother chasing it down and all this sort of business. And let's go get Chinese and kind of all's well that ends well sort of deal.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of see that Tamara Blake or something, just trying to get the Iron Cat suit fixed. Because I guess it's been in disrepair from being broken up.
Okay.
But it wasn't too bad, I guess this would have been good if you read the whole, if you read it in the trade, I think it would have played out better. Yeah. Just because, you just get to the end. and that's it. But that was still a fun series. I thought I was expecting a bit more, especially after reading some of those earlier trades of the Black Cat. That just seemed to be more Black Cat-ish. This
Yes.
one kind of started out this way, and then I don't know, just ended up. There's one good picture there where she's in her Black Cat costume, just kind of powering up as Iron Man. He kind of got all the stuff kind of coming around her. That was pretty cool.
Right.
And I'd give it a 3.75. Maybe the series as a whole is a 3.75. I thought it was okay, but nothing groundbreaking or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident to say that even with this issue, because I read the other four, I agree with you that I think some of the other miniseries or main series of hers that came prior to this, I think were better than this one. But I think
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that this Mary Jane Black Cat, he can recapture some of the magic that he had with that one shot. We'll see. I mean, like, I don't know how important it's going to be to the grand scheme of things of Dark Web. I don't know why they're involving it in that, but I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with that one because
I wonder in this Black Cat Mary Jane, if it's I guess it's taking place in the present sort of timeline as the Amazing Spider-Man. Because remember how the last one, the Black Cat Mary Jane special, is basically Black Cat saying I'm so happy for you and Peter, and in this one around she's dumped Peter, and basically Spider-Man's kind of asking her out and pursuing her. So now the roles have been sort of reversed on them, and now they're going to be stuck together. And is she going to be kind of trying to pry information out of her why she dumped Spider-Man? I imagine we haven't seen anything with Peter Parker talking to Black Cat about what happened. Like, we have no idea what happened.
You bring up a very good point. I didn't think of that at all because you're right. The last time that one shot was out, it was Ben Reilly, and they were trying to nurse him back to health. And,
they're on good terms with each other, and I thought it was one of the good parts of that issue was just seeing those two get along.
Yeah, now
little did we know they're going to pull the rug out from us after that.
And they were both vying for his attention at that point, but you're right, now it's different. So yeah, I guess we'll see what comes of that. I just, I do like Jed MacKay, and I think he's got a good voice for the Black Cat at least. So I have high hopes for it. Let's hope it pays off. But yeah, we'll see. I'll do anything for him to come out with more Black Cat. I mean, I really enjoy all those series that he did.
Yeah, me too.
Whatever reason they can find for him to continue with the character, I think is good. But we'll see. All right, next up we got Exterminators #2. Chris, the art in this book, my God, this is a great artist. I love this. I mean, I haven't been reading. I might have to pick up the trade. I hope you let me know it's good because the art is amazing. I love the art.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a fun little story here. I didn't like the beginning or the end of the first issue was, those guys, all the other girls there in the battle arena, they finished doing all their tasks. And then you just end up seeing Wolverine there with the idea that they're going to have to battle Wolverine. But basically, in the first page, they're like, "Oh no, it's Wolverine," and she's like, "Oh, hey guys, what are you doing here?" And then so there's no battle there. They all start chit chatting, and then I guess they have more and more challenges thrown at them. And then here you find out that the way the story is being told is by them to the Quiet Council. So in reality, they're like, is that the picture there? Yeah, they're there in front of the Quiet Council trying to explain what happened. So, and they're all bound up and chained because I guess maybe they might have to kill some of these vampires, which maybe they're not allowed to do as part of the new rules of Krakoa or something. But anyways, they go back to their story and they're still in this battle world, and they kind of defeat one sort of challenge, and then this other challenge, all these mirrors come up, and every time they look at themselves in the mirror, that the reflection comes to life, and then of course I think is it Boom Boom?
Yeah.
Boom Boom can't stop looking at herself all the time. So she's got like 1,000 of all these mirror images of her coming to attack. They figure out, okay, we got to fight them with their eyes closed. And then some more new, vampires come out there to attack them again. So we'll see where that goes. And that's, it's still a fun issue. This is just a straight up, no high stakes, no stories for the soul. It's just some, fun art with some fun characters. I liked it.
Nice.
I give it a 3.75. The story's kind of weak, but it's still fun. And if they really wanted to amp up some Cheesecake Factory there, they probably could, but they're not, so that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the looks of it. It sounds fun, so I might pick up the trade. I might just check it out digitally first to see if it's worth it. But But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely worth a digital read.
okay, I'll check it out. I do want to, because every time I put the art together for the last 2 issues you've mentioned, I'm like,
Yeah.
who is this art? I'm like, this artist is great. I really like the look of it, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
not even getting past the cheesecakiness of it, like certain characters. Like, I think it's still just really nice looking art. So yeah, that's really cool. Next up, we got Catwoman Lonely City #4. This is the last issue of this series. This is one of those oversized issues, like magazine style ones from Black Label. Written, drawn, I think colored, everything pretty much by Cliff Chang. Yeah, written, drawn, colored, and lettered by Cliff Chang. There you go. One man show here. This was good. I think this series started off a lot stronger than it ended, but it didn't end with like a fumble. I think that the ending was good. It was just when this series started off, I just had such high expectations for this, because I thought the first issue that set up this whole storyline in motion was just so good. And then as the series went on, and it's only a 4 issues mini series, but every issue was oversized, and it's like a 72-page issue or whatever, right, each one. So it's like a whole, I mean, I've already double dipped. I am going to order the hardcover, because I do want this on the shelf. But I just think it was a good ending, while I think it could have been like a great ending, like compared to Rogues, which was also a 4-issue Black Label book in this format that ended last week that I talked about. That was much better. I think that was very good consistently the whole way through. This one, it was kind of like they ran out of steam a little bit for me. It felt like it wasn't like a big conclusion or a big story that they were leading to at the end of this, but it did end nicely, I think, for Catwoman. She did right by Batman. Like, this whole time she was trying to do right by him. He's dead in this timeline. Like, this is the future, and she's older, and she got out of prison. She got to get back together with some of the other villains, and she had like again, like you said, like an Ocean's type 11 type of task to basically do one final heist type, not heist, but like her whole thing was to get back into the Batcave at the end of this at this story to do something for Bruce. The whole plan was, I guess, Bruce was hoping that she could help. He had some sort of Lazarus pit of sorts in there that helped resurrect him, even though he would only survive for like a week or something, because the effects of this pit that he had weren't very strong, just so he can fight another day, essentially, right? And it kind of it fell apart towards this is a flashback in this scene where he was dying, but it fell apart towards the end of this story, where it didn't kind of come to fruition. But it was okay at the end of the day. She's able to live another day and basically look forward to helping Gotham and doing right by their people. And she's actually working with Barbara by the end of this, who is now the new commissioner, which she is in a lot of these Elseworld type stories or future timelines, as we just talked about her in the other book too. But yeah, so she, towards the end here, they kind of left off with them talking to one another and her looking out onto the city, basically to say, I'm happy to be back here and I'm looking forward to helping you. So yeah, it was good. I give it a 4. It was a good ending, great art, good storytelling throughout. I just it started off so strong. I was giving the first 2 issues like 5s, but I think the way it ended was good, still fitting. So I give it a 4.
Nice.
Yeah, and then next up we got Strange Academy Finals #1. The return of Strange Academy, now with the finals kind of title. This is, I guess, another season, as they call it now, for some of these series that they put out, and they like to take breaks in between instead of like the monthly kind of comic grind that they usually do. So this is where they left off with it. A lot of the people that were attending Strange Academy didn't like the way they were doing things over there, so a lot of the students took it upon themselves to leave, and they're out on their own here. But they've gotten themselves in sort of a mess of a situation. It's not looking good for a lot of them, and there's a lot of drama, and there's a lot of like issues with their new, they're basically in like a dark dimension somewhere, basically all together, and choosing this new path for themselves. But there's a lot of students aren't happy with kind of where they ended up, and the couple of students that kind of sparked up this whole movement for them to leave, and because they didn't like the way things were going over there, now are kind of being controlling of their situation, and they're not very nice to some of their fellow students, and there's a lot of pressure on them, right? And it's definitely like a little bit of the whole coming of age type drama stuff, like high school type shit going on here in this story. The art's really great. I like all the characters. I've grown to really enjoy them over the span of the first series. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to more. I thought, it's more of the same. I felt like even though we took a break, it hasn't really changed the tone of the book all so much. I think this is just a continuation of what the story was before. And yeah, I'll give it a 3.75. I really like it. I think the artist does a great job of drawing kids this age, which a lot of artists are not good at doing, but I think he does a really good job of it. Humberto Ramos. So I want to give a shout out to that, because I feel like a lot of artists, sometimes they draw children or teenagers that look like adults, and they don't really do a good job of depicting age, right? So I think he does a really good job of it. So yeah, so I'll give it 3.75. All right. Speaking of Strange, we got Strange number 7. Chris, what'd you think of this?
That wasn't too bad. What did I got? What did I write down for Strange 7? Yeah, I guess to get the situation between Strange and Clea sort of explained. And looks like some new foes are on the horizon. They spent a lot of time with kind of Strange and Clea almost getting together. Nice to see that he's alive again. But I guess things aren't as they seem, as they're polar opposites of magic, which is not good, it seems, in their world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you think?
Yeah, my big takeaway from this is that Stephen Strange is a dick. They really had to drive that one home to come up with an explanation as to why he would not explain to her that he was now this other, this
the
other
harvester right away, like,
right.
Because didn't he show up in like the second issue or something?
He did. So his whole thing was, he didn't want to get in her way as being the new Sorcerer Supreme. So he's like, listen, I'm Stephen Strange. I can do this on my own. I'll find a way. And without involving her at all, or her feelings, or taking that in mind, or any of the shit about how, like, she's been struggling to bring him back this whole time. And meanwhile, he's already out there.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like a phony baloney kind of bullshit reasoning. Like, I get it. They had to come up with some sort of, and listen, it's not, I think it fits the character. Stephen Strange is known to be kind of an asshole at times, right? So I think it makes sense. It tracks, but I just thought that was funny how he basically, his solution was to be, work for death, Doctor Strange, and find a way out of that situation instead of hoping for her to find a way to get him resurrected somehow, because while at the same time giving her space to do what she had to do as the Sorcerer Supreme. So that's basically the reason that they gave. But I really like those people, though, that those magic militia guys.
Yeah, like the nobodies or whatever they are.
I like that team. Like, I'm really interested to see where they go with that.
Yeah,
like,
it seems interesting. I like that.
Yeah, that's been slowly building. We've both said we've really enjoyed those characters, so I'm looking forward to see where the way this issue ended. I was like, oh, interesting. So like, they're going to continue with these guys. I really like that. So, what'd you give it though?
I'll give it a 3.75. It did interest me, and then they can't be together, as the cruel fates and stuff like that. But then those nobody guys, they give that extra 0.25.
Absolutely, I agree with you. 3.75. Yep. All right, next up, Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, number 2. All right, yeah, got that one too.
It wasn't too bad. It was more like a sort of the army comic book where they're just on a mission and trying to do what they do. Except it's against Nazi zombies. That wasn't so bad, I guess. It's better than the first issue, I'll say that much.
Agreed. And here's what I wanted to say about this. I actually had already a thought in mind that I wanted to mention about this series. This is exactly kind of what I wanted when I signed up for this book, when I was like, and I haven't pre-ordered anything past this issue, but I'm definitely going to continue reading it digitally, because I wasn't sure how it was going to pan out, especially after the first one. But let's take, for example, something like Jurassic League, where I just wanted it to be dumb fun. This has that did not. Let's say that. Like, there was a time you've seen a little bit of that during Jurassic League, but this is exactly what you think it is when you're going to sign up for this. If you just want a thing with Sergeant Rock army comic with zombies, this is what you're going to get, right? This is it, right? Like, if you don't like this, then you don't, I get it. But I dug it. I had a lot of fun with this issue. Like this is exactly what I feel like we signed up for when we were like, oh, this might be fun, right? Where Jurassic League didn't turn out that way, where it could have been so much more fun. And yeah, that's the best comparison I can make, because I think like every issue of that we're like, yeah, I don't know, it was okay, but this was fun. This issue, I really liked this actually. This one, yeah.
I'm still not understanding how these zombies kind of, kind of sort of rules they operate on, because they're all hanging out in a bar. It seems like they have some idea of what's going on.
Right.
But like I say, I did like it better, and I think I might have the third one coming. But I think if I don't, I'm not going to sweat it.
Right.
And but I will read. What's this? 5 issues or something?
Yeah, I think 6 issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it on. It's still fun.
Yeah. No, I dug it. Yeah. So what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.5.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a 4, man. I dug it. I had a lot of fun with this. I really like Eduardo Rizzo too, the artist. I gotta give it a 4. I like this better than the first issue, because the first issue.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's a fun, quick read. You can look at the panels. Not much of words going on. Just a lot of people, people's heads getting blown off, or just kind of zombies jumping out of everywhere. That's not so bad either.
Again, this is, like I said, this is just dumb fun type stuff that I think this is, if you want a book like this, it delivers in that sense. And I think I went in with low expectations, especially after the first one, and I was like, you know what, I had a lot of fun with this. So yeah, this was good. It was good. All right, Action Comics 1048, Chris.
Okay, I don't have my physical copy here, but I did read this online. I'm pretty sure I did my physical copy. What's with that cover though? Come on. Anyways,
I think that's Bruce Campbell right there, from the writer of Sergeant.
Brian doesn't have a chainsaw on his arm there. But the story inside, it's not too bad. There's a lot of stuff between Lex and is that Metallo again, or I'm not sure what his name is.
Yeah, I think it's Metallo. Yeah.
Yeah, Metallo, and he's still trying to convince him to get some upgrades and go fight Superman, and Metallo's not having any of it. He just wants to stay outside the game and just kind of, do his time there. And so that's probably about the best part of the story, is just kind of that interchange between Metallo and Lex Luthor there. I think Lex Luthor starts to threaten, maybe it's like, that Metallo thinks he's got nothing left to lose. There's no way he can kind of push his buttons, but then I guess he has a sister that still visits him. And Lex Luthor sort of insinuates that something bad might happen to her. And then at the end, I guess she was supposed to visit him and she didn't show up. So maybe that might play out into something. And then the other parts of the story is, I guess Superman and his adopted family go to the zoo, and I guess freaking hilarity ensues. And you got these new gods, or old gods are basically been reawakened, because in that war world he used some fires of Olgrin to either power himself up or to set the war world free. And from what I've read is that those fires of Olgrim are sort of like the Infinity Stones. There's like 7 of them out there, and now one's been awakened, and so all these old gods, hey, you can't be messing around with powers you don't understand, and we'll see where that goes. That's from what I read, like, outside of this issue, that that's where this may be going down. The road it might be going down. But it wasn't a bad issue. The second story, I can't even read it. That's the backup, whatever story it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it looks like it's decent stories, but just that freaking, it's like Archie Comics or something with the backup story. It just takes me right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, I'd give this maybe I give it a 3.75. I did like all the good characters there. Lex Luthor being back in business and trying to do some manipulating, and that Metallo guy kind of shutting him down was fun to watch.
Cool. All right. Next up, Detective 1065.
Detective 1065. I don't even remember what happened to this issue here. I gotta leaf through this one here. I didn't take any notes. I read this a couple days ago, but I don't know, man. This whole Argon family that's coming in there, and what Batman's trying to do, I don't know. I got him not 3. That's all I got to say there. I'll just let it go.
Dropped.
I don't want to drop it. You know, they got some nice covers. It's nice art inside there.
Art's great.
But, you know, he's getting all these freaking panic attacks or something here too, or he's old. He's missing a step. You know, they got these League of Shadows people coming out, and he throws him in the water, and then you know he's about to die, and then that Barbaros comes by. I don't know if that's just in his brain or something,
Mhm.
and then someone pulls him out of the water somehow, and I don't know. But maybe I'll read it online, see how it goes.
Right. But yeah, obviously didn't leave too
Yeah,
much.
maybe I'm just missing the point of this one, and I'm like, you know, its brilliance isn't just it's just
Right.
going over my head.
All right, so 3. Okay, next up. Obviously didn't leave that much of an impression though. It sounds like so.
Yeah,
But yeah, Deathstroke 14 Inc. number 14. Oh, nice
yeah.
cover.
This is an Ivan Tao, I think.
Okay.
Variant cover. That guy's supposed to be pretty, or personally supposed to be a pretty hot artist.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's a pretty decent cover. But all these Deathstroke covers have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And this is still part of his year one arc, I guess, while all the Dark Crisis stuff is going on. This was a pretty good issue. You know, get some nice violence in there. He's still trying to track down the people that made him. And I guess since he got killed, I guess in the maybe the issue before or issue before that, the government has sent in sort of some other cleanup squad to finish the job. And, you know, Deathstroke's not having any of that. And they're still trying to kill the scientists that made the super soldier serum that turned Wade Wilson into Deathstroke. And there's 3 of them, I think, that end up going after the victim or the scientist. And Deathstroke sort of, they think they take care of Deathstroke, but I guess he pulls his, you know, his healing trick, or he had his bulletproof costume that they kind of make fun of all the time. And Deathstroke kind of gets his revenge on them. But he doesn't realize that those guys might be some super soldiers too, and one of them kind of pulls the same trick on him. He thinks he's dead, and he's going to finish the job.
Right.
And in the end, one of those bad guys there is holding his buddy and going, "Hey, that was a nice trick playing dead. I can do it too." And there we go. But it was a good issue. I liked it. I'm liking this stuff. I give this a 4.
Nice. Yeah, no, it seemed like this year one arc's been very good, actually, right? Like outside of the Dark Crisis shit, it's good that they telling a different story, right? Nice. All right, next up, Firepower 24. This is kind of the end of like that big arc where he was fighting Master Shaw, that guy with the snakes and the dragon. This is kind of the end of their little battle here, where they both end up walking away from the battle at the end. Owen, the guy who has a fire power, puts up a good fight, definitely takes him out at one point, and you know, not so much on the dragon. I mean, he's kind of all messed up, the dragon, but you know, again, they both live to see another day. And Master Shaw is surprised with the fact that how advanced he is in terms of like wielding the, I mean, basically let's call it what it is, like the Iron Fist type fire fist or whatever, but it's basically like, you know, Iron Fist type shit going on here. But yeah, like he's surprised at how much he's mastered the actual flaming fist type stuff. So he does get his ass whooped unsuspectedly because he wasn't really ready for it, I'll say. But by the end of it, Owen's so messed up from their battle. And you know, let's face it, the guy has a fucking dragon that he's just like, all right, I gotta get out of here. And he jumps back on like a plane with the rest of his crew, his master, and everybody else that came to go fight this guy after he invaded the city. And again, Chris Samnee, just like career artwork, honestly, he's always been great, but the book just looks awesome. Like I have a lot of time. It's even like in these issues where it's just like the whole thing's like a fight sequence, the issue, like it's hard not to, and you feel like there's not a lot of story there. It's hard not to really enjoy these things because the story is told through the art, and when the art is this good, it's just like, it's a great issue, right? So again, I give this a 4. I can't give it any lower. I think even for something where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, they just fought the whole issue. But like, again, the fight sequences are awesome in this book. It's a fun book. I usually always feel like I give this book a 4 or more because it's a fun ride. So, but yeah, I guess we'll see what ends up happening, you know, out of this, because like I said, they live to see another day, the bad guys, and Owen kind of went off, and the big bomb that they dropped at the end of this. And by the way, guys, again, spoilers. His master says that he says something to him as they get on the plane and they're flying away about how he's like, this guy, like, he was responsible for the death of my parents and everything else that went down in the past. And he's like, oh, and I have something to tell you. I didn't ever wanted to tell you this, but I killed your parents. So his master, for whatever reason, as it's unexplained, dropped the bomb on him at the end of this issue after he just got his ass whooped and he's going back to his family, that he, for whatever reason, was the one responsible for killing his parents. So I thought it left on a really interesting note, and I can't wait till the next issue. So yeah, we're 24 issues in. This has been a great series, Firepower. Chris, I know you've been reading some of this as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I know you've given you some issues. I think you've enjoyed it as well for the most part. I think, right?
Yeah, good stuff. And like you said, with these fight scenes, when you can kind of see what's going on all the time, like a few of these comics, like even that Deathstroke, it wasn't a big fight scene, but sometimes you miss the guy getting a sword put through him. Because I was reading that, and okay, well, there's, they're whatever, you see the swords flying, and then you read the next panel, it's like Deathstroke's, the sword, severed my spine. I can't use my legs. I'm like, what? When did that happen? And it's like a little freaking small corner panel. And when something big like that happens, you figure that's like a splash page or something. So, like, good fight scenes are hard to come by, or hard to, I guess, play out or draw out on those panels. So it's good when it's done well.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think this is a great example of that. And like when the whole issue is focused on this fight, I think, he does a great job. Right. So I think, fight sequences aren't easy for sure. That's true. So yeah, no, for sure. Next up, Creep Show number 2. This was okay. I think this was weaker than the first issue. Again, this is an anthology. Every issue you're getting 2 different art teams with different writers. The first one was actually the same artist that's doing the backups in Action Comics that you don't like, Chris. David Lapham and his wife, I think, what's her name? Maria Lapham did this story, and he drew it. The Gorgamora tree. This one was all right. I didn't mind this one. This was basically like there's some tree on these people's property that I guess there's some sort of evil presence that infects the girl in their home, and she becomes obsessed with the tree. And then towards the end of the story, it drives her to basically burn her whole family home up on fire. And she basically goes into the trunk of the tree, like descends into it. So she becomes one with the tree. I don't know what ends up happening, but basically, yeah, her whole home goes on fire. She puts it on fire, and I guess the tree, messed with her head or something. And she ends up just like descending into it. She was never seen again, and I guess the family was dead. The house went up in flames, and yeah, the girl was never seen. So it was kind of like a big mystery at the end. So I thought that was interesting. But this second story was not that great. It just, I don't know. It was like, again, they got Erica Henderson on art. She's fine, but like she's not my favorite artist, and I don't know who wrote this one. Steve Fox, so I don't even know who that is. But basically, the second story was about this guy is like a orderly that works in an old age home, and the guy in it is like the old man that he looks after was like, I guess, like a comic creator or a cartoon creator or something like that. He basically he made a lot of money from something like that. I think it was a cartoon. So like throughout the story, like some of the cartoon kind of characters are playing out in the character's head, and he's trying to steal money from him, as these orderlies sometimes do in these old age homes, because he's an old man. And by the end of it, there's like some shit goes down, and the guy's like award or something that he had up on a shelf falls down and stabs him in the fucking eye or something. It's just like, I don't know, like it's a weird story. I obviously it didn't make that much of an impression on me, so I felt like because of that, I give this a 3. I don't think it was as good as the first issue. I thought the art teams were not as great as the first issue. I also feel like the stories didn't have as much of a great stinger at the end of it, but it's hard to do that and do like an 10 page story where there's like a cool, like, ending, like Twilight Zone type thing to it, right? Where it's like a twist at the end, right? So this wasn't as impressive as the first issue, but it was all right. So I give it a 3. All right, and then finally we got Amazing Spider-Man 12. Chris, last book.
Well, before we get into Amazing Spider-Man, I just want to talk about a story I read last week. It's sort of along the lines of that Creep Show. I think Marvel had an anthology kind of come out. I think it was like Marvel Tales from the Crypt or something.
Yes.
Did you hear about this? There's one story in there that was really interesting where it had Laura Kinney versus the Swamp Thing.
Okay.
And basically, I think Laura goes to the Swamp Thing to try and get some help. But there's some sort of pheromone that the Swamp Thing puts out that that sets off the Laura, whatever, the X-23 like kill mode or something.
Yeah,
Well,
berserk
she
mode.
goes down there to try and find them. She gets overcome by this pheromone, so she goes berserk, and then she's trying to fight the Swamp Thing, and the Swamp Thing's fighting back just to try and save himself. And then it kind of starts at day one, then day 30. But since they can both heal all the time,
Right.
basically just keep on fighting back and forth because every time she heals, then that killer instinct thing kicks in, and then the battle goes on for like millions of years. I forget how it turns out, but it was just an interesting story. Just an
Oh,
aside, sort of on the something to look into if you can see it, if you can find it online somewhere.
yeah. I think it's called like, isn't it called something of the Vault or Shadows of something? I know
Yeah, it was something like that.
it was an anthology, horror anthology that they came out for this.
Yeah, basically like Doctor Strange's brothers in the basement and all these stories I can't even talk about. But that
Right.
was like the rest of the stories are kind of hokey, but that was a good one there. I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. I did see that. It did catch my eye, and I didn't end up checking it out. So I might have to track that down. I might have to look that one up. Cool. Nice. There you go. Some
No, man, here we go.
Amazing Spider-Man 12. Some Hobgoblin action. What do you think of this?
Hobgoblin action, yeah, that's for sure. What are they? I guess that's the Hobgoblin mystery sort of unfolding there. And with his art here, all this kind of casual stuff that's going on, I'm not a big fan of. But when he does those Hobgoblin battle scenes, I was like, wow, that's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
I thought those were some big fights. I thought it looked great. And maybe those fight scenes are growing on me. Or anytime he's up as Spider-Man, it's looking good. And the whatever the not the strongest issue in my opinion, but it's still nice to see how the story's playing out.
Mm-hmm.
See how it goes.
I hate this costume though, this glowing fucking spider. Like this
Yeah.
scene looks stupid. I don't know what that like. I hate how he looks with the fucking glowing spider thing on his chest. I don't think that's needed.
Or even just those glowing dots. You want to make his eyes yellow, fine, whatever. But you don't need all those stupid glowing dots. I thought it was nice when the Hobgoblin shows up and then Spider-Man jumps on a glider, and the Hobgoblin's like, "What the heck? You got a glider now?"
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. And yeah, I guess the big reveal here was that there's two hobgoblins in the mix now.
Yeah.
There has been multiple hobgoblins, so it's kind of cool that they kind of are making reference to that. And
they're both in cahoots, it seems.
yeah, even though he finds out that it's Kingsley here at the end, there Ned Leeds could be the one and the other one for all we know. We haven't confirmed that as of yet, but
Okay, I thought it was confirmed that it was him in there.
I mean, we haven't seen him without the mask on. This was the guy. I think it is going to be him, but I guess we'll find out next issue, right? But I think for now, like that's what we're supposed to think at this point, right? So yeah, that's really interesting. I do like that. I mean, there's been different versions of the Hobgoblin, just like Green Goblin in terms of like people putting on the costume. So I dug this again. I think it's one of those things. Like I said, it's just a real sweet spot. I agree with you that Ramita isn't as great on the talking head moments, but he is better when it comes to some of the action stuff. So I think, again, it's hard for me to even for like an issue like this where not too much happened. I still am digging Spider-Man, man. It's been great. Yeah. So what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.75. Like I say, it wasn't the strongest issue out of the last bunch, but it's still okay.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.75 too. Veering on a 4 though, quite honestly, just because I just enjoy it. Like I think if I'm being honest with myself though, yeah, it's 3.75. This
yeah. I just don't like the Hobgoblin and like freaking goblin stuff. Enough already.
I like the Hobgoblin. I think it's too much. I mean, at this point, like. I'm thinking if he gets up out of that hospital bed, this might be the Gold Goblin we might see, right? And this one is that supposed to be him? I don't know, right? Is that
I don't know, but I've had enough of Norman Osborn too. He was a big player in the last one. We can just get away from him for a while,
That's what I mean. He's still in the mix. I like him as this version of the character right now more than I would like to see him as a Green Goblin again. I think we've had enough about him already. I'm the opposite. I think I'm here for the Hobgoblin stuff though, because I like Hobgoblin. I don't think he's been as used in recent years, right? But Green Goblin we've had enough about of him for sure for quite a while. So I'm okay if he doesn't show
Yeah,
up.
well, I'm not even Green Goblin. I have enough of Harry Osborn and freaking the whole Osborn family. They can all go live in a freaking other house in London and go hang out with Ozzy. But
There you go.
but anyway, that's just another side. But it's still a decent issue.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so that's gonna do it for the books we want to talk about this week, guys. Not too much in terms of the solicitations other than the Marvel DC stuff. There was a couple of Image books, but nothing I think very much worth mentioning. So yeah, definitely, because I know I had talked about that last week. We might revisit some of the other publishers and solicitations, but nothing stood out to me that I think that's too hot that's going to be coming out in the new year from these other publishers. So yeah, so we'll look forward to the next batch of solicitations in a few weeks. But yeah, what are you picking up next week, Chris?
All right, next week we got Avengers Forever 10, Captain Marvel 43. That might be dropped in the new year. Deadpool 1, Hulk 10, Punisher 7, Savage Avengers 7. I want to drop them in the new year, but they're still moving along. She-Hulk 7, Batman 129, Deadly Duo, if I can get my hands on it.
Yeah.
We got Dark Knights of Steel 8. Is that coming out next week?
Yep.
And I got Poison Ivy 6. Then maybe
nice.
some freaking Image one I forgot about or something, or some Dynamite comic. Who knows?
Okay. Yeah, I got Batman 129. Yeah, Batman and Joker Deadly Duo number 1. Dark Knights of Steel number 8, which I'm happy that's coming back. I'm really looking forward to that. Gotham City Year 1 number 2. Hulk 10. Old Dog 2, which the first issue wasn't great, so I'm not too excited about that. We'll see. Punisher 7, and again another one that I've dropped along with Old Dog that the first issue was no good. TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures number 2. And yeah, I might be reading something you mentioned there digitally. I think there was one there that you mentioned that I didn't pick up.
Well, we got the Avengers Forever and Savage Avengers. They're still fun to read digitally. Or I guess we want to catch up with what's going to be how. I guess there's a big event coming up soon in the winter or December of the Avengers Assemble Alpha when they're finally going to fight this army of Mephistos.
Yeah, so if that has anything to do with it, I might check out exactly you said it. I might check out Avengers Forever and Savage Avengers because as much as I don't love Savage Avengers, they have had some fun things going on. I thought last issue was a lot of fun, so I might read it. We'll see. All right, well that's gonna do it for what we're looking forward to picking up next week and our favorite book of the week. Chris, what was yours this week?
I'm gonna track it down. It was surprising to me, even while I was reading them, I didn't have a strong favorite. But once I read this one, I thought for sure this is going to be my favorite was Harley Quinn. Can't believe.
I like that. That's a good pick. I like that a lot. Yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't like a super strong week in terms of standouts. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Batman Beyond the White Knight just because I think it was probably one of the better issues in this mini series so far. I've enjoyed it the whole way through, but this was definitely, if I had to pick one out of the bunch this week, I'll go with this because I think this was probably the strongest issue so far of the series. It's gotten to an interesting point.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised it was Harley Quinn. After that whole freaking summer debacle with Harley in space, I thought this series had nowhere to go, but it looks like it's turning around. I don't know if it's still the same writers or not.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's great right now. The last couple of issues have been really piquing my interest as well, which is a big turnaround from what happened previously. Right, that whole month we were just like, this is garbage, and then coming out of that, they've actually been telling a good story. So. All right, so that's gonna do it for this week, guys. A lot of fun as always. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Hit us up in the comments, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week for our 50th episode, Big 50. All right, so we'll see you guys then, as always. Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Later.
Cheers.